Okay, so today we're going deep on something pretty intense. We're looking at Dr. Evelyn Moreau's logs about her research with a juvenile dragon. They called
Amazing.
it D3. And we talk about a lot of stuff on this show, but this goes beyond rediscovering lost history or, uncovering forgotten texts. This is about something that happened that really shook things up in how we see the world. I mean, literally.
Yeah, it's hard to overstate the impact of this research.
Yeah.
Dr. Moreau's log, it isn't just a scientific record. I mean, it's a human story too. You can feel the weight of her experiences, the ethical struggles, the sheer awe of working with a creature like this. And I don't know, there's a somber tone that runs through the whole thing that really, I think, reflects the seriousness of what they were trying to do.
And that's really what we're going to try and unpack in this deep dives. I mean, where did this project come from? What did they learn? And how did it all go so wrong? So let's start at the beginning. March 3rd, 2027.
Right. So Dr. Moreau calls this the theoretical exercise phase. It
Hmm.
wasn't, driven by some urgent need. They weren't trying to solve a problem or anything. It was more about pushing the boundaries of what we know about cognitive conditioning and behavioral modeling. And they had the perfect subject, a living dragon.
I mean, it's amazing, isn't it? They spent 2 years observing D3 before they even tried to capture him.
Hmm.
She writes about his intelligence, his curiosity, his tolerance for humans. This wasn't some mindless beast. And I think that early observation period really shaped their expectations, maybe even gave them a false sense of confidence.
Yeah, and that's where Caldwell's concerns become so important. He's worried about the psychological impact of captivity. And Moreau doesn't shy away from that debate. They knew there were risks. But in the end, the allure of studying a dragon, the possibility of unlocking some huge scientific secrets, it won out. It's that classic dilemma, isn't it? Balancing the pursuit of knowledge against the potential for harm.
And it's a dilemma we still face today, right? I mean, the background of that decision, a raging storm, almost feels symbolic, like a foreshadowing of the trouble to come.
Absolutely. And then we get to the capture on April 10th. And immediately it's clear just how difficult this is going to be. They had to sedate D3. His breathing became irregular. His temperature dropped. It's a reminder that even with all their preparation, they're dealing with an animal with a physiology they barely understand.
And then the enclosure itself, it was huge, nearly half a square kilometer. They tried to recreate his natural habitat, mountains, running water, even introducing prey animals.
Mm.
But as Moreau writes, but a cage, no matter how expansive, remains a cage. They could build him a world, but they couldn't give him back his freedom.
Right, and D3's reaction, it's so telling. This stillness, this eerie patience, he just watches them. Golden eyes followed every movement, and he refuses to eat for 3 days. It's like a silent protest, a rejection of everything they've done.
And when he finally does eat, it's with this unsettling ferocity. Like all that pent-up energy, all that wildness, it just bursts out. It's a chilling reminder that they might have built him a cage, but they hadn't tamed him. Not really.
So then fast forward to June 22nd, and this is where things start to get really interesting. They're trying to establish communication using scent-based association and vocal mimicry. I mean, think about that for a second. They're trying to speak to a dragon.
It's incredible. And it seems to work, at least on a basic level. He learns the cues for food and safe.
Hmm.
He recognizes individual researchers by scent. And then there's this thing they call emotional mirroring. If they were calm, he was calm. If they were hesitant, he would withdraw. It suggests a level of social intelligence that we're only just beginning to understand.
Yeah.
I mean, what does that tell us about dragons?
Well, and then they gave him this problem-solving task, a locked compartment with levers. He figured it out in less than an hour. Caldwell was convinced that this was more than just learned behavior. It was planning, it was reasoning. It's like it challenges everything we thought we knew about intelligence, you know? Like, are we really the only species capable of complex thought?
I mean, it really makes you think.
Hmm.
And then on August 14th, something truly remarkable happens. D3 makes physical contact with Dr. Moreau, just a nudge with his snout against her hand. She describes it as brief, cautious, deliberate. It's like a moment of connection between two completely different worlds.
It's a powerful moment. But even then, even in that moment of apparent trust, there's this sense of unease. Moreau talks about the unpredictable shifts in his eyes, like a part of him remained wild, untamed, like a warning sign, a premonition of what's to come.
And by November 5th, things are definitely taking a turn. D3 is losing weight. He's restless. He's not responding to commands. The stress of captivity, it's starting to take its toll.
Yeah, and he starts trying to fly, just launching himself at the walls of the enclosure. Now, can you imagine the frustration of a creature like that? Denied the one thing that makes it a dragon. His patience was wearing thin. That tolerance they'd seen early on was gone.
And then the incident with Caldwell on December 18th. the hiss, the near miss with the claws. It's a stark reminder of just how dangerous this situation is.
But Moreau doesn't see it as aggression. She sees it as fear, the fear of a cornered animal. And that's when she makes the decision to plead for his release. She goes to the board, she explains that D3 is suffering, that this is unsustainable. She appeals to their humanity, to their sense of ethics.
But they refuse. The research is too valuable. The military is too interested. It's that classic story, isn't it? Ethics versus ambition. And in this case, ambition wins.
And it sets the stage for the inevitable. On January 4th, 2028, D3 escapes. Moreau describes it as terrifying precision. He found a weakness in the perimeter and he exploited it. He was watching, calculating, waiting. This wasn't just a random act of desperation. It was an act of defiance.
And the speed of it all. It happened in minutes. A storm of talons and fire. They never stood a chance. Their containment protocols, their security measures, it was all for nothing. He disappeared into the night like a shadow reclaimed by the night. It's almost poetic, isn't it?
But there's no sense of relief in Moreau's words, just this emptiness. Like, she knows they've made a terrible mistake. Like, even though he's free, something has been broken.
So February 10th, 2028, the aftermath. No confirmed sightings, some blurry satellite images, maybe some tracks suggesting he's headed back to his original territory. They shut down the project. Officially, it's a success. Breakthroughs in draconic cognition and behavioral analysis, but Moreau's personal assessment, we failed. It's a powerful admission of guilt.
And her final conclusion is so haunting. We tried to bridge worlds that should never have been bridged. And in doing so, we shattered something sacred. I mean, talk about a lesson learned. We can be so arrogant, can't we? Thinking we can control these forces we don't even begin to understand.
And then her last thought. The possibility of D3's return. Not as a specimen, but as something far greater than we ever imagined. It sends chills down my spine. What does that mean? What have they unleashed? It's like a question that hangs over the whole story.
And that's really what we're left with, isn't it? This sense of unease, this uncertainty. Dr. Moreau's log, it's a warning. A reminder of the limits of our knowledge and the potential consequences of our actions. When we try to control the unknown, we do so at our own peril.
And that brings us to the question we want to leave you with today. What is the true cost of our curiosity? What happens when we cross those lines we were never meant to cross? And what does it mean to encounter something far greater than ourselves? Maybe it's time we start thinking about those questions a little more seriously.
Because the answers might be closer than we think.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep wondering.
And stay curious.